In this video, I discuss what I think will happen with Bitcoin and the main altcoins in the coming few weeks of Q1 2024. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button if you're enjoying the content and make sure you're subscribed for the regular updates. So let's have a look at the Bitcoin chart first. Now, I discussed this recently. We all know what happened. And in terms of the actual price movement since we had that little bit of a sell-off from the 49,000 mark, we've been going kind of sideways and consolidating. And it looks like it was the sell the news event, but the sell the news was actually the ETF trading live, not actually it being approved. The ETF being approved was a little bit of a bull trap, not a massive one, but a small one. Now, what do I think will happen? Well, first of all, how's the general market sentiment? I always like to think about sentiment, especially when it comes to cryptocurrency. And what we've noticed recently is there's obviously a lot more interest in Bitcoin and altcoins and obviously meme coins as well. And that's been going up. That means there's a little bit of retail participation. Now, over the longer term, it's not significant because if you go scroll out to 5 years, this is Bitcoin in terms of how interested people are in it. We're back at, I would say, levels of around December 2020. So we're getting there. We're getting there, but we've not had massive retail FOMO in. Important to note, but definitely we're seeing a few new people in, and especially after the ETF, which was massive news across the world. You definitely would have had a few more people aping in to cryptocurrency, whether that be Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the others. Now, this is the Crypto Fear and Greed Index. I've been watching this for years, and personally, I don't really like it because I don't find it correlates very well. But at the same time, it just gives you a quick idea of where people are at. And at the moment, it says there's greed in the market. Yesterday, last week, there was a lot more, and it's toned down a bit. But if you have a look here at where we saw the peaks in the market, November 2021, for example, you'll notice that the greed level was high, but it was not extreme. And also when we had the lows of the market, say around November 2022, it wasn't as fearful as you would have expected. We had more fear earlier on. But even then, in terms of general areas, it gives you an idea of where we're sitting at the moment. So it's somewhat helpful, but I don't think it correlates very well with market tops or bottoms. I think what correlates a lot more is literally where we are in a cycle as we see it live, and also any massive news events as we're seeing with the ETF, and we've seen before with many massive Coinbase listings and events. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, we can see this price moving sideways, but this always gets me a little bit nervous and worried because we're seeing price not really doing much, the market very quiet, and a lot of volatility kind of sapped out of the market. So if you look at one of the major kind of altcoins, which I like to look at as a barometer, give me an idea of where the trends are. I look at a couple of very well trended altcoins that have great charts. One is Avalanche, AVAX, and the other is Solana. Really, really nice, clear moves, impulsive moves, and corrections. Gives you a really good idea of kind of where we might be at. And what do you notice with Avalanche? Well, since we had that bit of a sell-off until the 12th of January, so over the last kind of 5 days, sideways price action. Eerie, scary almost how we're just seeing it. Like if you look at it on a 3-hour, it's just literally candle by candle, just going up, back down, up, back down, up, back down. That gets me worried. Why? Well, let me show you what Bitcoin was doing in June of this year. Well, after June, we had that run up, and then in July, we were around the 30,000 mark, and we were there for a while. Looked like consolidation, but it was actually distribution. And as price was going sideways, we were spiking between ranges, and then we had that kind of spike high all the way up to 31, nearly 32,000, then we had a sell-off. Then after that sell-off, things were going sideways for a while. Less volatility, less volume. Then we had a bit of a push down in the market. But then what happened in August? So we had a little bit of a push down, step down, price kind of quiet, consolidating. But then in August, suddenly we jumped all the way back down to the 25,000 mark. And it's those moves that suddenly happen, kind of middle of the night type of things, that will push down all of cryptocurrency. And when I've noticed that when Bitcoin and some of the other altcoins are kind of aimlessly moving sideways, not really pushing up in any way, looking very, very corrective, they kind of sometimes kneel over and then crash that way. And that's the kind of way Bitcoin and some of the altcoins are looking at the moment. As I say, I think the more reliable ones to look at are Solana and Avalanche. Some of the newer ones, for example, SUI, SUI, USD, some of the other ones that are gaining a lot of interest at the moment and do definitely have massive potential. I don't rely on their charts right now because for the very basic reason that they're smaller cap coins in comparison to, for example, Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff. They're much more in terms of trending, narrative trending in the short term. So they don't really tell you overall where the market's at. So for example, everything could be crashing and some of these other coins could still be going up. doesn't really help us. But even in some of these, I'm noticing that we're getting lower highs. So we get a top and then potentially we get a lower high. And if these also start to break down a bit, it could be warning signs. Solana had a good day today. It was up 4%. But if you have a look at the chart overall, this is on a 3-hourly, from the high we saw just after Christmas Day, kind of moving very sideways, very corrective. Don't want to see this choppy movement. Want to see something a lot stronger with volume, impulsive, a few God candles. That's what we're looking for here. Not really seeing that. Kind of concerning. And what I worry about with these kind of moves is maybe we'll get a little fake out above these highs, above the 105 mark. Maybe we won't. We'll wait and see. But then we kind of sell off, kind of keep going sideways, and then quietly in the middle of the night, one night, we start challenging these lows again at the low 90s, and then we kind of just fall through. And I've seen it happen so many times with cryptocurrency that probability states, we don't know. I mean, the correction could have been absolutely over. We had fresh kind of lows here on the 8th of January, but the move since the 8th of January, which I was expecting to go 1, 2, challenge the highs, and then we bust through, not happening. It's this kind of sideways movement that's what gets me really worried. And that's why I'm mostly on the sideline with cryptocurrency at the moment, waiting to see what happens. Because to be honest, I can give up 4% moves and 8% moves and stuff like that while I wait to see if we're going to take another crash of 30%. I'd rather wait and see what happens with that, because that could grind on for a while. And the other thing you have to note with Solana and some of the others as well, how long have we been trending for? So some of them have been going on since kind of June-ish time, but generally the big move was from 15th October, around there. So 2.5 months of upward price action. It's completely normal now that we get some sideways action, maybe even a push down over the next kind of 4 to 6 weeks, as I've said in my previous videos. Nothing wrong with that. And even if we get that, it's probably overall healthy. If we drop down to the resistance levels here at 78, so it could be there, or it could be these lower support levels at 65. If we go around this region here, where we saw a lot of buy action and we kind of drop down there, not worrying in any way. It just obviously is a much better buying opportunity from there. However, what can change my kind of mind on this right now? Well, very simply, we get some volume into the market and we start pushing to the upside really hard, really quickly. Because then that means there's something else going on here, and it can't just be all consolidation anymore. So if Solana suddenly starts getting some volume, curving around and breaking out, which we all hope happens sooner rather than later, and we start challenging the 126 highs, we're off and running. And then you'll see a lot of the others run with Solana and Avalanche. But we really need to see those moving as well. It's very unlikely you're going to get Bitcoin, Avalanche, and Solana not moving up, challenging their highs, and just the smaller altcoins moving, or just the meme coins. It doesn't work that way. A quick note on the meme coins. If you didn't catch the video, make sure you see it. It was, I think it was my most recent video where I talked about Solana meme coins. Some of them are doing really well at the moment. And we've seen this with USD, which is dog with hat. This has moved up, I think, 50% just today. This is moving up very, very strong. And this is a narrative at the moment. Solana meme coins are very, very popular. So keep an eye on these. A lot of volume going into these, which means the smaller ones offer you a lot of potential. In an upcoming video, I will discuss how to get into some of these coins early. When I say early, I mean literally 5 minutes after they launch, because that's where potentially there's more risk, where you can make the most ROI as well. Thanks for listening.